So we're just getting ready at this point for our event on the 9th, which will be 3 keys to a successful launch. Could be product, could be people, could be businesses. And I've got a couple of slides that I can share with you of where we're going and what I think this operation is going to look like when we go down to event time. So on the screen share, we've got the front and center page. This is engaging a group of artists and getting the art community to help support kids in need. It's an art therapy mobile van called Art Van program up in Bath, Maine. It's a lot of good things that they do with kids in the time of COVID to keep them together. And then at the same point, you see the other part of my slide just produced. This is a monthly column called Boston and Maine Connection. Been writing this for 9 years. And it's about engagement and what's breaking news these days. The old-fashioned newspapers will tell you have to take an ad, you have to pay for this. If it bleeds, it leads was the old, and as Bruce and I have talked so many times, the gatekeepers are all down.
Right.
None of those rules apply. And so as you take a look at the contest that I've created for people to get involved with what we're doing, I think we've got a really good opportunity to help people understand that you need some key players like cheerleaders, ambassadors, advocates. You need to build a community, and you can take on any size corporation as a solo practitioner working from your house.
Very cool. So I will be tagging on top of that, talking about how you find these influencers and these people to connect with and to spread your audience. So I'll be going a little deeper into locating them, I'll show a little bit how you can find them, and then how you connect to them, you like them, you comment on them, you buy their stuff, and you sort of bring them into your world so that you ride on people who have bigger audiences that you have and can spread your message to a wider and bigger audience by using other people. But it's, it's a nice way. It's sort of like dating and marrying. You sort of meet people and you connect with them and bring them into your world, and they get them to notice you and put that all together, and you can expand your audience by using other people's audiences.
You've done that for a long time. You've got some 50 books on location
right.
to Amazon.
Right. And this is a long-term game tactic. You don't do this like overnight. It's something that you do for a long time, and you build connections strategically. Who do you connect with, and how do you bring them into your world? So that'll be a nice tag on top of what Keith's going to present with his program. So.
And then I'll try to come in, I'll call it the business marketing focus. Most of my day job is working with businesses, helping them figure out the hurdles around all types of digital, social, and how to connect all the dots. So same for me. It's like, you've got your cheerleaders, your ambassadors, and your advocates. How do we engage them in a more B2B scale even? And what are those appropriate touch points? There's a ton of ways to do all this. That's usually the challenge, figuring out where's your low-hanging fruit and what can you start easy with, and figure out how to, go from crawling to walking to running. That's a big part of this. You don't just leap into it and all of a sudden you're firing all cylinders. Anyone that seems like they're the overnight success is no, they've been at it for a number of years. You just find them now as they start popping up because they're getting traction.
Well, that's it. And I think if you're experienced and you talk about prioritization and you choose, given any campaign that you're on, what you want to do with it. But if you're just starting out, keep it simple, right? It's just take action.
Move the needle. I like to just move the needle a little bit. Yeah.
There's a big swing. When you're the solo, that's a very different world than when you've got a few people, or you've got 25 people, or then maybe you've got 100. Then you're into more of a corporation, call it, with departments and people having roles and responsibilities. When it's just you at 2 a.m. needing to do a blog post and a LinkedIn thing and all that,
that's it.
Reality strikes. So how do you figure that out and make it efficient?
Cool.
And you're not a sole practitioner anymore, are you? You run your own business, Lew, but you've got resources left, right, and center.
Yeah, there's 100 people in Denver. There's a West Coast team out in Pasadena. There's my Boston survey team. So it is kind of funny, but the agency model certainly has changed. And back in the day, I had 35 people working for us. Now it's like, what can you do with 4 or 5 and then be scalable with all the other, kind of technologies and people that will need to drop in and lend a hand at the right point in time.
And I have me. So trying to work in lots of different markets. How do you cross promote between these markets? How do you do something in one place and use it in other places? And yeah, it's a challenge. You definitely have to wear a lot of hats when you're the solo person. And there's so many channels that, as you said, as Keith said, and we've talked about, that the gatekeepers have fallen. But just because they've fallen, now we have access to them, which means we have to go out through those gates and do things. So it just opens up a lot of challenges and bandwidth and time.
And I think that's the fun for all of us, doing this together as we started 10 years ago, and now bringing back small focused segments for people. It's I grow while I'm doing it, you grow, and then the three of us together have really launched a lot of efficiencies that didn't exist previously using that very tool.
Right.
Sounds good. Can't wait to get there. See you at the next session.
Let the fun factor kick in.